Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. I am so excited to have Alexa from Reposit on the line with you guys today. This is an amazing product. I haven't seen anything like it in the industry. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about Reposit and also how you can simplify your booking journey. We'll talk about some of the key things that you need to have a lean, mean agency. And then she's going to demo Reposit, which ties into how you can better develop supplier relationships and simplify the booking process with the suppliers on your end. So thanks, Alexa, for being here. And thanks, everybody. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having us. Sheila has been an integral part of Reposit since the beginning and has been really instrumental in giving us feedback and helping shape the product along the way. So excited that we finally get to collab here.
I am too. I am too. It's been what, a couple of years since we've been working together.
Yeah, the beginning of like COVID, I want to say like May of 2020. So
Well, I love how the product idea came about because um, you had a really cool tour operator business in New York City, right?
yeah, vintage car tours all around Manhattan. So picture like a red Ford Model A or an old school Buick. And we were giving these private on demand experiences paired with like speakeasy mixology classes. So that's how we got started in the tourism and hospitality space. And then my co founder, Heather, and I, previous to that, do have a pretty strong tech background. So we came off of a couple successful acquisitions and decided during COVID to basically pivot that experience company into the product that we'll show you guys today, which is really just like a two-sided marketplace that's really aimed for advisors to streamline the supplier discovery, planning, communication, and booking process. But I'll
You
get
know,
into that.
one of the biggest pain points I think that travel advisors have is finding those smaller tour operators and DMCs from around the world. Also, those who are new to the industry don't understand that in many cases you can go outside of your preferred supplier network. I know that you guys have grown quite a bit. How many thousands of suppliers do you have?
Have over 12,000 offerings on the platform today, and that's growing week over week.
And I know there are quite a few preferred ones on there as well, preferred with some of the larger host agencies and consortia. So it is a bit of a mix. I love the premise behind the platform and how it streamlines the entire process. I preach about supplier relationships and how that fits into your booking efficiencies, your relationship, and your authority. So I think maybe the best place to start is for me to talk a little bit about having a plan. So, as a travel advisor, you really need to have a plan. There are some key things that we feel are so important at TIS for creating a sustainable and profitable business and attracting and retaining the right kind of customers. So, I would say the first place is knowing how you're going to conduct your discovery calls. Are you going to do it via phone? Are you going to do it over Zoom? Are they scheduled? Or are you picking up the phone? I'll tell you recently, I had a gentleman call my travel agency and I actually picked up the phone and he said, "Wow, I've called 12 travel agencies and you are the first person that has actually picked up the phone." So I actually conducted my 15-minute discovery call with him at that moment. It turns out that he wasn't right for my agency, so I referred him to another travel advisor. But I do want to stress the importance of picking up the phone. So, having a plan. How are you going to conduct your discovery calls? I'd love to know for all of you guys on the call, you could just put it in the chat. Do you actually have a systematic approach for conducting discovery calls with prospects? Let us know in the chat. And then how are you going to move them to say yes to your fees? Do you also have a plan in place? Do you have communications pre-built that maybe you can speak to right on the phone? Maybe they're talking points. Maybe they are email communications. How are you communicating to them to let them know you are right for them and they are right for you? So, do you also have next steps in place? I know that in TIS, we have a series of communication tools for our gold and higher members that actually walks them through every single step from discovery call all the way to post travel. So I want to know, are you communicating with them? Do you have the next steps in place, which will let them know how you work? And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make this a little bit more interactive because we really want to get some of your participation and understand where your pain points are so that we can address those throughout the call. So let's see. What I have over here is Josie. We deal with international customers mainly. So because of the time difference, our initial presentation tends to be via email. So I want to know, Josie, are you actually asking questions via email? How are you determining if that customer is right for you? Or are you in a place in your agency that you are really just taking on every customer who comes to you? I think it's really important for you to understand that so that you can then pair them with the right product, with the right supplier, and communicate clearly to that supplier. And Tammy says every phone call and I answer every phone call and Calendly appointment. I have a systematic plan for discovery calls. I'm so happy to hear that, Tammy, because time is money. So I want to know when they say yes, do you have next steps in place? Is it an invoice? Are you then conducting a research and planning call as the next step? Because I really delineate discovery calls from qualification calls or research and planning calls. I think the discovery call is really used for you to determine if that person is right for your agency, where the research and planning call is where you're going to dive deeper into their preferences, their desires, what they want out of the trip, some also key things that you can follow along. Like if you're a TIS customer and you use the client intake form, completing that client intake form and asking those pertinent questions about, their hotel preferences, what type of amenities need to be on site, things of that nature that help you add to the qualification piece. So I'd like to know what your next steps are when they say yes. Okay, so Tammy sends a planning fee invoice and a contract for them to see what to expect and sign. I love that. So that's always a key piece. You want to make sure that anytime you are collecting fees, that you are sending your terms and conditions along with that fee invoice. And that way, you're covered from the start. You're not scrambling to go back and get your agency legally protected later. So start thinking about your journey. What does your booking journey look like? Do you have a guide for your customers to lead them down a pathway? Have you created those communications for repeatable tasks? And what checklists have you put in place so you don't miss a step? If any of you have attended my webinars, you'll know that we offer a lot of tools inside of TIS so you don't forget anything along the way. When I first started out, I don't know about you, Alexa, but when I first started out, I would invariably miss something. And so
Yeah.
I would have to call the client and then I would have to call the supplier back. And now I have a very systematic approach. So it starts with the customer and there's a pathway right from the discovery call, having key communications and checklists in place, which also, by the way, demonstrates your authority. It demonstrates your professionalism. It encourages your customer or your prospects to move forward with you because you stand out. And then if you're utilizing some of the additional tools and guidance that we provide to you, now you're going to use tools that will help you work better with your suppliers. The fact of
Yeah.
the matter is time is money. And preparation is imperative in all aspects of not only your business, but your life. Let's face it, preparation is key. So, time blocking will take you from chaos and overwhelm, really, to control and freedom. And having those key pieces in place will change the face of your business. One of the things that my suppliers love about working with me is I do provide them with the client intake form. So if you know if you're using the TIS product, you know that it's provided in Word. So I complete everything in Word, and then I have a paragraph which is an overview about my customers. Once I start working with customers repeatedly, I actually have a bio saved for each one of my customers, along with additional preferences and things that they pay attention to, things that are really important to them. So now when I work with a supplier, they know what my customer looks like. And as I build relationships with those suppliers, they know what my expectations are. There's a little back and forth that I have with my suppliers. So now I've just streamlined the entire process, not only with my clients, but now with my suppliers. Does that make sense to everybody?
I would just say to piggyback off that, I think like one of the most common frustrations we hear in the industry in general, and like a big impetus of why we started Reposit to begin with, is like the frustration that exists sometimes between advisors and suppliers and all of the back and forth. Because you may ask a question, it takes 2 days to get a response back. This is pre-Reposit, of course, but what Sheila just went through, if you get all of that information up front from your client during these discovery calls or using the client intake form, and you communicate that to the supplier, you eliminate days and hours of all of that back and forth communication. And you put the supplier in a really good position to be able to deliver the one or two best products that they have that are a fit for the client. And as we go through Reposit, we really specialize in like local, on the ground, unique suppliers who are willing to customize and have a lot of different offerings. So they can give you the absolute best fit product when they have the correct information. So I think that's why there's so much synergy here and why it's such a critical step in the process.
Well, and that leads us. This is a good time for you to show
Yeah.
the Reposit portal and how that communication works. I don't know where you're going to start. Start wherever you want, but I know you will get to that communication piece and also show the feature of getting those requests for proposals out quickly. So when
Yes.
you take our forms and or create your own, you can create your own. You don't have to use ours, but if you create a system and then couple it with what Reposit offers, you can streamline your process, take on more bookings, focus on your money making activities while you rely on those suppliers to do the work and deliver it right the first time. So I'm going to let you show because I love your portal. It's amazing.
Cool. Let's rock and roll. All right. I am going to share. Cool. You guys can see this. Sheila, we're good.
I can see it. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, for everyone who has not seen it before, this is the Reposit portal. You can use this to discover new vendors, easily request quotes, post RFPs to our marketplace, and then basically facilitate and manage all of the communication back and forth between you and your suppliers. I will note you're going to probably see a lot of things on here. We do have a lot of additional features just outside of the pure supplier discovery. So at the end, I'll let you know how you can request a demo to see more of those, but we're going to just focus today on the supplier piece. And so when you first log in, you will be at a very searchable supplier database, but we're going to just like go through the flow of what happens when you guys would first sign up. And so we have a projects dashboard. This is really just to keep track of all of your different client inquiries and requests in one place. And when you want to search for new vendors for a new client request that comes in, all you're going to do is click this new project button, and it's going to bring you through step by step the pieces of information that the system needs in order to match you with the correct suppliers for what your client's looking for. And so I'll enter just like a random one to kind of start. We can do like Miami honeymoon, something like that. How many people are going to? Where are they going? Miami. This does integrate with.
Love about your portal too, Alexa, I'm going to interrupt you, is
Yeah.
you have domestic folks in here. And that's a real challenge for travel advisors to compete with OTAs in the domestic space.
Totally. Yeah, we're very big in the US, and just in terms of scope, I know I mentioned we do serve or we have about 12,000 offerings on the platform today, and that spans across 6,000 different locations. So we certainly are global. I would say a huge bulk of that is in like the US, Mexico, and the Caribbean, but we do Europe and international as well. The next thing that the portal will guide you to do is to fill in some additional details about your clients. So if it is a leisure traveler for a honeymoon, we'll continue on this example that I'm going down. Who is this project for? You can bulk upload your list of clients so that you would have them in the drop down here, or you can simply create them on the fly. So we'll just select someone for this purpose. And then if you have a budget that you're working with, that is very helpful information for the supplier to have to be able to quote you properly and give you the best fit product offering. So I would recommend throwing that in here. But if you don't, that's okay as well. And we'll click continue. And then you have two different options of how you want to connect with suppliers through the portal here. And so option one here on the left side, you have the ability to post an RFP to our trips marketplace and receive inbound quotes back. And so we'll go down this route first, and then I'll bring you guys back to search. If you would prefer to do more of a tailored search of your existing supplier database, you do have that option as well. I would say the RFP tool is definitely the most popular within the platform though. So once you come into here, you've created your project, all the information that you just added is going to be populated in the overview section here. But when you want to create an RFP, you just go to the second tab that says RFPs, and this form will populate right here. So in addition to all the different offerings we do span across multiple categories when we say suppliers. So anything from restaurants, activities, and excursions, venues, catering, logistics, entertainment, transportation, hotels, DMCs, you name it, we have a home for it on the platform today. For each category of supplier that you would be looking to receive responses from, you will want to fill this out. So if I was looking for a hotel to start, I could select hotel from the category drop down. I can enter Miami in here. I could put in my dates. Group size. So it's 20 for this. And then this is just saying this listing expires on. This is the respond by date that the supplier receives. And so if you're looking to get back to your client in a week or in 2 days, you just want to set that expectation with the vendor. Again, communication is key, time is money. You're going to enter that date here. You'll pull in your budget. And then in the additional details section, this is where you're going to want to put all of that information that you collected on the client discovery call. So if it's Miami, are they looking for South Beach or are they looking for Brickell? Do they want a 4-star property? Do they want a 5-star property? What amenities are very important for them to have? You'll list all that out here. You can also attach a file, and I can show you guys how to do that in just a minute if you're using the intake form. And then as soon as you click create RFP, what our system is doing on the back end is we have a matching algorithm that runs, and basically any suppliers within our network that fit those needs are notified. And if they have availability, they'll send you a quote directly through the system. So the workflow is very simple from your side. You come in, you enter your project details, you create that RFP, and then you sit back, relax. You don't have to chase the vendors, and you'll receive those quotes typically within 24 to 72 hours, depending on the destination. And as those start to flow through, I'll just go to a project that has been around for a little bit of time here so that there's some responses. The responses will live in the quotes tab of the project. And so I just went one over from RFPs. It looks very similar to your email inbox. As soon as they see that and they start to shoot you messages back, you'll see the name of the supplier, the status of the quote, the dollar amount that they quoted, and then the date on which that was received. And so I'll just click on one as an example. And if I scroll up to the very top here, you can see all communication with the vendor and your original request is date and time stamped in the system. And so trip dates, number of people, the deadline, your message, and then you can see the supplier's response back right here. This functions as a live chat, so you can easily message back and forth with the vendors here. Each time a message is sent, if you have your email notifications on, it does trigger a response to your email. And if you want to flip on email integration, you can actually respond to all the supplier messages outside the platform from within your inbox, and it will still log in here. So we do have formal email integration with the quotes and the supplier communication if you're someone who lives out of their inbox.
And this is brilliant because I can't tell you how many times I've had to search for email communication with a supplier on a specific trip. And I work with very specific suppliers now. So I'm not all over the place. Besides that, I just started to say I'm not taking any new bookings just because I can't with TIS, but it's a lot. It's a lot to go, okay, I'm working with Eurobound on this client, this client, this client, and this client simultaneously, and to search through all of that communication takes so much time. Again, time is money.
Right. It's like, how can you remember a trip that you did a year, 2 years ago, and which vendors you use? With Reposit, even as you archive projects, you can always go and look them up either by the client name or the project name. And then all the supplier communication information will all be stored down here for you guys. And I did want to highlight on every quote record, there is a file section. So again, if you're using the TIS client intake form or you have a template of your own that you use, and you just want to shoot all that over to the supplier, you just click the little plus sign and you can upload any file from your downloads or your desktop. And then once they submit some like line item pricing for you here, it does move into this quote pricing tab, which will give you the line items, the total cost. And from here, if you wanted to move forward and book this for your client, all you would do is click accept quote. It triggers an email notification to this vendor, which in this case is my Quest Concierge. They click a button from their side and it just sends you an invoice, which you can then either enter your client's credit card information yourself, or the invoice comes via email. It's powered by Stripe. You can forward that invoice along too if you're not collecting the credit card. And so it works very easily both ways. And then we do have a payments dashboard that will track all of your payments and make sure you're getting paid your commission accordingly from the vendors. And because we are B2B only, and we only work with professional planners and suppliers, almost all of the suppliers within the system will be willing to do commission.
That's fantastic.
And then just one other quick note, if you can't remember what My Quest Concierge does, or you need more access to their profile, if you just click on that little link, it will bring you to their vendor profile, which does have a lot of upfront information. And so it'll have their address, the different cities that they operate in, a link to their website, their description, and then for each category, it's the different products that they offer. And so if you're super interested in a cenote private tour in Mexico, this is on my to-do list, you can just click into that category and then you can see a description of that activity, the min and max capacity, the languages it's offered in, their standard cancellation policy, handicap accessibility, and things like that. A
And
bunch of
also,
information up front.
you can search for suppliers as well. And one of the things I wanted to point out to the travel advisors on the call is when you complete the RFP, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alexa, but I think when you guys were first building this, you told me it's going to automatically shoot that request out to the appropriate suppliers. So if you're looking for Miami Beach, an African supplier is not going to receive that request.
Correct. It's all done with AI and matching.
Perfect. And
then,
I'd love for you to show everybody how you can search for suppliers. Like I'm looking for X, you know.
There we go. So restaurants in Miami. And as you guys can see, this middle drop down is the category one. So if you want to look for restaurants specifically, if you want to look for activities specifically, hotels, transfers, you just select that from the middle drop down. And then this is a type ahead. So as soon as you start typing, the Google Place option will pull in, and then you just select from there. And then depending on the category you select in the middle, different search criteria is going to populate below here. So it gets very granular. It's very specific. We spent probably like 3 or 4 months just studying the way that advisors and professional group planners want to find the correct suppliers. And this is not something Google's really built for. So it is super dynamic. It is very specific to each category. And just so in this example, if you're looking for a certain cuisine type in Miami, we have that. If there are certain dietary accommodations that your clients have that you need to be able to say, like, yes, I have gluten-free pasta in New York City for you. Here you go. And then, of course, standard things like group size. You can plug all of that in. I usually do like audience type. We can throw in, maybe let's say it's like a little bit bigger of a group. And then you can just scroll through, see all the options that meet that search criteria. And then as something may look interesting to you, you can just open up their profile and it will have all of that information that we just went through with the MyQuest profile as well.
You know what I
From
would think?
here,
You know what would be
oops.
a great feature to have, Alexa, is like a favorite
Oh yeah,
feature.
we have gotten that a few times. I think there may be some members of our product team on here. So if there's not, I'll send them the recording. But yeah, I think that'd be great too.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. And for the TIS customers who are on the call, Alexa and I have been speaking for the last couple of years about an integration of our legal contract product and some of our other solutions. We've both been running a mile a minute, breakneck speed, or 10 miles a minute, I should say, at breakneck speed. But we actually do have a call after the first of the year to talk about this now that we are building out a custom document portal with DocuSign grade e-sign capability and some other features. So it may be closer in the future than we had anticipated, but we do have our teams getting together to discuss it. So hopefully we can make that happen for you guys sometime in 2023, sooner rather than later. But neither of us are making promises. However, we are making progress. I will
We
tell you,
are.
we are making a lot of progress. So I know that we both have listened to the community, the needs, the wants, the desires, and we hear you. And keep them coming. We want to hear from you. We want, and from a TIS standpoint, I want to hear from you about how you would like to see our products work within lots of technology spaces. Because we want to make it easier for you. We are looking for the best of the best and products that companies that are actively investing in their technology to enhance the industry overall. We know that continues to be a challenge with outdated and antiquated technology in the marketplace for travel advisors.
And then I will just show one more thing quickly. This is more of a teaser, so if you're interested in it, we can always talk afterwards. But with all the different supplier communication, and I'm sure you guys saw all the beautiful images that the suppliers are uploading and their descriptions. From the project, we do have a way to drag and drop all of that information into a proposal or itinerary builder for your client. It's a pretty flexible template, but I'll just give you guys like a kind of quick preview of how they can come out. So this was that Mexico project we were looking through. Everything's flexible. You can structure it any which way that you want, which I know Sheila has always said is very important. So you can do less images, you can do more images, but the cool part is the suppliers have uploaded all these descriptions and images already. And then you can always edit them and just save them down as templates for you guys to use later on. So it is pretty flexible. It's simple but clean and super easy to use. If you do find yourself doing a lot of the sourcing in the system, it is super, super helpful. Don't know if I lost Sheila. We lost Sheila. Okay. I'm still here. Yes, you can upload your own logo on the proposal. So that Reposit one's just filling in because that's what I had on this one. Trying to see if I lost any other questions. Anything else I can answer? It looks like Annalise has been helping me out here, so thank you. Yeah, no, that's a great question. So for anyone not following the chat, how are vendors added to the platform? So we are invite only today. I don't know if you guys saw it. I'll share my screen really quickly again, but we do have a very simple way for advisors to invite their suppliers and then for suppliers to invite their advisors. So all you need is their email. There's an invite portal. When that happens, our team follows up. Does a little bit of vetting of our own and then gets everyone up there and live and running. So it's fairly exclusive, but yes, you can of course invite any of your suppliers. And then how did we get started? It's a good question. I don't know how much time you guys have, but no, I met my co-founder, had their 7 or 8 years ago at an HR tech company called Vettery. My background's mostly in tech sales, and Heather's is mostly in product and operations on the startup side. And so we built that company from 4 or 5 people in an incubator to a 350 person team that got acquired back in 2018. And then after that, her and I just looked at each other and we were like, we got to go build this, but like in a different industry and something that we're really passionate about. So we left. We started that vintage car tour experience out of New York City. That's how we started working with different advisors, group planners, DMCs, corporate meeting planners. And through those successful relationships, we just saw a massive need in the industry to streamline the way that planners and suppliers discover each other, communicate, receive pricing, and ultimately book. And when we felt enough conviction around that need, we basically just pivoted that experience business in March of 2020 and started building Reposit. And it looks like we might have Sheila back.
I could see you. You were frozen on the screen. And
So
then,
weird.
I told you this is a new platform that we're using, and I was hesitant to hit this reconnect button. It looks like I don't have the chat anymore. Do you have the chat history?
Yeah, I have everything.
Okay, I don't. So I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Literally, we have tornadoes rolling through here. I was talking to my friend Angela Hughes this morning. She's lives about 25 minutes from me. She's like, she was planting flowers this morning. She goes, is it raining there yet? I'm like, no, but you better take cover because the tornadoes are hitting you first.
My goodness. We don't have that in New York. It's just cold.
Well, I just love all of the new features of the platform. And you know what? I was so tired when we joined this call. You and I were on earlier, and I was like, I'm so tired. I have been pushing it so hard. And I know you have a lot of Reposit people on the call who have never heard of us. So I'm so sorry I didn't introduce myself. I've been doing live webinars every day for Travel Industry Solutions. And I forget that, the audience on this call may not necessarily be right. All of the Travel Industry Solutions followers. So, hello, my name is Sheila Polk, and I am the CEO and founder of Travel Industry Solutions. And I'm also a travel advisor like you. I founded TIS 2 years ago. We are the first and the only warranted legal contracts and waivers provider for travel agents in the United States. We have huge demand outside of the US already, which we will start to accommodate later next year after we build out our proprietary custom platform. So we also provide scripts, tools, workbooks, workflows, everything that you need to have a sustainable and profitable business. So think of it like a framework or a business in a box. Everything is kept updated as laws change. And we also add new product every single month. We now have a team, I think, of a little over 10 people in 2 years, which is kind of crazy. But if you're interested in TIS, you can find us at travelindustrysolutions.com. So that is for all of the folks on the call who do not know about TIS. And thank you, Christy. I love you too. You're amazing to work with.
Second that.
Okay, so any other questions? Does anybody have questions for me or for Alexa? I know her platform is so slick. It is free for travel advisors to
Oh yeah, I
sign
didn't even
up.
mention that.
Yeah, it's free. That's even better. Did you
It's
share
even
the
better.
itinerary building feature too?
I did, yes. I think that's when I lost you, but yes, I did.
Okay, because that's always a great tool and something that everybody asks for. There's so many technology tools out there, a lot of great ones, but when you're starting out or you're still in recovery mode from the downturn of COVID, you really need to watch your dollars. So having that tool is great. And I love it because it's very clean, it's simple. And anybody who knows me knows I like really, really clean, simple, elegant looking materials to send to your clients. All right. I think that's it. I think Nina said, seems awesome. Not sure if it is for Africa. Nina, I suppose you are referring to Travel Industry Solutions. Is that correct? And if so, so the first countries we will expand to are common law countries. So those are places like the UK, Australia, New Zealand, India, Canada, certain countries in Africa. We already have customers who are localizing our product. So 90% of it works in common law countries and 10% needs to be localized. And what do I mean by that? Our legal agreements are 90% there in common law countries. So we have customers who are purchasing our product and then taking them to have some small modifications made, which saves them on huge legal fees. So we do already have that happening, and it's been happening for the last year. We will move into the small tour operator and supplier market probably simultaneously, but there are many other waivers that suppliers will need that are different from travel advisors. So we've started compiling and documenting that list. The gentleman who heads our legal team was general counsel for decades for a global Fortune 500 travel industry company and helped them to expand internationally. So he's very familiar with how the legal works across borders. And he sources all of our legal teams based on the type of contract or application that is needed. So that is how our agreements work, and that is where we are moving to. All right, fantastic. Thanks so much, Alexa, for
Thank
joining me
you
today. I
for,
know it's so hard for
yeah.
us to get together sometimes.
I
Um,
know.
you're a bit crazy, and I am too. So thank you everybody for being on the call today. There is a replay. It'll automatically go out to everybody who is registered for the call. So don't forget to go to reposit.io
Yes.
for signing up with Reposit, and for Travel Industry Solutions, it's just travelindustrysolutions.com. I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.
Thanks, Sheila.